Hey crafters, it's Maymay, and this video is a collaboration video that I'm doing with over 200 other crafters here on YouTube. It's called #lovesummerart, and it was created by a fantastic group of YouTubers, one being Cinnamon Cooney. That's who I kind of saw and got started doing this with, and I will link their information below. But here's how this works. When you get through watching my video, if you'll go into the search bar of YouTube and put in #lovesummerart, it'll pull up all the videos that we have done, so you can have like an art gallery full of tutorials and art videos for you to follow along and watch and see what all these talented crafters have done. Some of them are very, very talented, and then you get me. So I'm going to create something kind of fun today for a summer art kind of deal, and let's get started. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do, I have seen these done all over Pinterest. They're all over the place, and I want to say they're called glue art on canvases. I think that's what they're called, but I'm not 100% sure. Here's what we're going to do. I have this stamp set here that is by Inkadinkadoo, and it's all swirls, and I know it's hard to see. I think this was a misprint, but I'm not sure. But there's no design on the acetate, it's just the stamps underneath. So I'm going to be using these to help me create a pattern on this wooden photo frame that I just picked up for like $1 or something during an after season situation, because this was a Christmas deal and I got it for like 90% off or something at Hobby Lobby. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by taking some of these flourishy stamps. Just going to put that on here, and I'm going to use some distress ink. I'm really not using the ink for anything except so I can see the swirl. You're not going to see this when we finish. It's going to be totally covered up, but this is how we're going to start. So I'm going to take this little swirly guy, and I'm just going to come to this corner and stamp that down. And I don't need it to be perfect. I just need kind of a guide for where I need to use the to put my glue down. So let me do him again. And let's put it kind of going this way this time. No, I don't like him there. That's the cool thing. Because it's clear, I can move it around and put it where I want it. How about right here? Like that. And then let's put another one of these on. Let's just see. How about this corner? And then I'm going to dig back in and get some more out and use all the different stamps that are here for me. Let's use this small one. And I'm just going to kind of fill this frame up with these little swirl designs just all over the place. Like I said, this is just really like a template for me, because I don't have to use these perfectly, but it's going to give me an idea of where I want to put the glue lines down. This will make more sense as we get going. Now I've changed my stamp again. I'm going to fill in this little space here. I'm going to see if I can use it here too. I can. I'm going to ink it up again and put it into this space. And I don't mind if the stamp design goes off the page some. That's perfectly, or off the frame. That's perfectly fine if it does. Matter of fact, I'm going to take this one and run it up this side, knowing that it's going to go on and off of the frame. Just like that. Now this is looking pretty as it is. If you wanted to stop after you get done and just have a stamped picture frame, that would be fantastic and it would be beautiful. But we're going to go one step further. Well, 2 steps further. If you mess up here, we're going to be painting this all one color, so it really won't even matter if you mess up, because we're going to cover all of the ink up. So if you get like a double image, or if you slip with your stamp, it won't even matter. Fill in that spot, and now I have a swirly design all over my frame. Now you can freehand this. You don't have to stamp it. You can do this. You can go straight to the part we're going to go to now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my fine tip on my glue. This is Art Glitter Glue. That's the name of this glue, and I'll put a link below to this. This is an amazing glue with a super fine tip, so you can get a nice fine line on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw using this fine tip over all of these little lines that we made for ourselves with the stamp. Now one thing I want to caution you to do is to start away from you and work yourself to you, okay? So you don't paint yourself in a corner, basically. Now if you don't have art glitter glue, or you don't have a glue with a fine line, you can always use puff paint, which I have done some projects this week with some puff paint. So you could certainly do that. You just want to get a line of glue. I've even seen this on Pinterest done with Elmer's glue. So you could do it that way too. Now I'm not looking for a perfectly neat line, and I'm not looking to get every single detail from these stamps. I'm just going to do the big details. This just really gives me a design to follow. Now you want to make sure that you put a nice bead of glue on because it's probably going to dry a little flatter than how you're putting it down, unless of course you're going to use the puffy paint. Then you could probably use just a regular old bead, but I'm going to try to be a little heavier here, and then when this dries we're going to paint over it to get a design. I think it's going to be super cool. If you had some old-fashioned carbon paper, you could absolutely go out to the internet, find some templates with some Zentangles, and you could absolutely kind of trace over a Zentangle to do this. Or maybe you're really good at doing Zentangles. That would be cool if you did a Zentangle on a frame and then you were able to color it in with glue like this and let it dry. That would be super cool. So we're right to the end here, and I'm going to tell you, this has only taken me about 10 minutes to do, and it's very calming, very relaxing to do. Now, if you have any hand dexterity issues, you'll want to make sure that you either take your time or you have a glue that's really easy to squeeze. I could see how this could hurt your hand if you had any issues with, you know, squeezing bottles for long periods of time. Now, something I want to show you that's no big deal. See how the ink has started to kind of smear on this side where it's gotten wet? It's going to do that everywhere, but it's not going to matter because we're going to paint the entire thing like in a solid color, so I'm not worried about that. Now I'm going to take my bottle and just go through and add some little dots in periodic little places, just like 3 little dots. I just think they'll be cute to add some polka dots here and there and add some more interest. I could see these for craft fairs. This would be super fun. And imagine if you did lettering and you could do someone's name or maybe a monogram or someone's initial. That would be neat. The more glue you add, or the more design you add, the more interest you'll get in the end product. Alright, now it's just a matter of letting it dry. Now I want to let it dry all by itself. I don't want to apply any heat to this because I don't want to take a chance of shrinking down the glue. I want the glue to stay in place. So I'm just going to let it dry by itself, and when we come back together we will paint it. So here it is after the glue has almost completely dried. There's a little bit of wet inside some of these bigger blobs, but it's still firm enough that I'll be able to go ahead and paint it. And the color I'm going to use is this color called Zinc. I just purchased this at Hobby Lobby and I love this color, so I thought we would use it today. So I'm not dry brushing. We're going to put an actual coat of paint, but I don't want to glob it on because I want the paint to be able to get in and around all the little nooks and crannies of the pieces that we created. So I'm going to probably put multiple coats, but start with one thin coat all over. I think one thin coat will really help it to show what we've done. And you're just going to paint right over all of your glue and make sure you get the paint down into the creases. And that's why I like to use a sponge brush for this. You could use any old brush. It doesn't have to be a sponge brush, but I'm using a sponge brush. I think this is super cool how this works. Are you starting to be able to see that design? I think it's neat. And you want to make sure you don't leave any of the wood showing. And like I said, you'll probably do multiple coats. I would probably do 2, depending on the paint that you're using, and just do it till you get the coverage you want. I want mine to be very opaque, very covered. I don't want you to see any of the glue. So like I said, my first coat's going to be real thin. And by the way, this took a while to dry. Even though I use my fast drying glue, because I use it in such thick, lines, it took a while to dry. So, if you're going to make this for a gift or something, maybe make it the day ahead of time and let it dry the night before you actually need to paint it. So remember that. If you need to paint it and let it dry too, this might be a 2 or 3 day project. So that's one good coat, and I'm going to let that dry and come back and do another. Doesn't that look cool? I love it already. I bet you could do this with hot glue. If you had a really smooth running hot glue gun and a steady hand, you could probably do this with hot glue and it would look really good too. I've seen this done on Pinterest where they did it on ornaments, Christmas ornaments. And once they got them solidly covered and solidly painted, they went back and did a dry brush technique and went over the top of the glue portion and just kind of brushed a little bit of color on it. And you could really see how those turned out. And then I've also seen it where they kind of antiqued it with another color, so it kind of got into the creases and crevices. But for the look I'm looking for, I want this solid, clean look right now. But if you wanted to kind of dry brush over the top, it would pick up those patterns and really showcase those. All right, we're going to let this dry. I'm going to put a picture in here or something, and then we'll be done. So here it is, all dry. Check it out. Can you see that? I love it. I think it looks so cool. And it's #LoveSummerArt. I like that. So that's my take on doing the glue embossed. It feels like embossed or debossed and then painted over. It gives it that beautiful design. I was thinking when I did this, you know, you could do this with like someone's anniversary. You could put maybe their wedding date or something underneath there, and it would be so pretty and so classy. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial that is part of the #SummerArt event. If you're interested in seeing over 200 other tutorials, including my friend Gareth, my friends from Crafts by Two, Melody Lane, Ian the Off-Kilter Crafter, the Art Sherpa, so many more, then just go to YouTube, type in #LoveSummerArt in the search bar, and oh my gosh, so many videos come up. I've been watching them a few minutes today too, and I'm just like, every time I get a chance, I go watch one. So it's kind of like a big art gallery for you. So you can see everything from crocheting to painting to this kind of crafts. You can see paper crafts, stampers, card maker, everything. Go check out this hashtag. I want to thank everyone that created the hashtag and then invited me to be a part of it. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this craft. Let me know how you would do yours, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.